Hello and welcome to Levels Plus Whenever episode 141, and if this isn't enough of an indication, I got a Switch 2 and I am actively goofing around with Mario Kart World, and we're going to be talking about both in this episode. This is being recorded in the midst of all of the Summer Games Fest shenanigans, so we'll be doing a separate episode talking about post stuff related to that as I tumble off because I just saw a medallion and wasn't paying attention to the road ending. This game does that. But let's quickly check in with all of the pickups I've acquired related to getting this silly thing. Okay. There's a lot of pickups going on this episode. Let's get through them all real fast. Ignore my face behind me. That is one interesting quirk about this new layout, is that it reflects in the hutch behind me. Let's start with the obvious change. Whoa, okay. I have a Switch 2, and I have 3 games for it. Exclusively. I've already transferred all the old Switch content over, although it's slowly downloading. Mario Kart World came with the system. I got the Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition because I still have only got the game on Wii U, and I thought now would be a good time to update it. That way I can kind of keep all of that legacy memories, trauma healing in that version, and kind of use this one as a new exploration. I also got the new Rune Factory. I've never played one of those games before, but the reviews for it were extraordinarily good. And since it's included on the game card, which will be something I talk about eventually when we talk about Switch 2 stuff later, I went ahead to support it because Marvelous is literally the only third party that I'm going to be supporting that is doing this. CD Projekt Red is, but I'm not supporting them. So that's the dealio there. I also got, and let me flip back over. Gotta find it. I've got stuff everywhere right now. I've got the new Pro controller. I haven't really used it yet because I literally just got home with it. Also got a SD card for the Switch 2, so it doubles its expansion. And then I got a whole heap of amiibo. So I got Tulin and Riju and Sidon and Yunobo from the Tears of the Kingdom line that came out today as of this recording. And then I'm not getting Street Fighter 6 for the Wii or the Switch 2, but this Kimberly amiibo is just too good. I love her too much to just not get her. And I will say that I can understand the price hike with her because she's got like flexible hair. Like there's all this extra accoutrement. She feels a little bit different. She's also considerably larger. So like here is a relative scale check, and she's just quite a bit bigger. Last but not least, out of all of the things, this is gonna take up the whole camera. Yes, I got the Lego Zelda set that I'm looking forward to building at some point this summer. Okay, I haven't had a pickup this big in a while, but it's very exciting. Okay, let's get into the rest of the episode. Alright, welcome to the Switch 2. And boy, what a journey I went on to finally get here. I've transferred everything. As you can see, this is basically what my Switch 1 had, more or less. There's a few games that are hanging out in here that haven't been downloaded yet. I'm trying to remember what an example is, like the Banner Saga. I bought it, I haven't re-downloaded it, so that's what that little cloud means. If it's a downloadable title, I have virtual game cards now for it. So, like with Assault Suit Vulcan Declassified here, that's what that symbol means. And if it's something that I have a physical of, so like Bakaru, there's no game card in there, and since that's physical, it works a little bit differently. So I can't quite do that without the card being in there. Which all relates to the new game card sharing stuff. But it's nice to have everything over and it didn't fully take up the memory. So there's still quite a bit of space between the two. And I have the biggest SD card that is currently available that is within reason. Which is 256, which is basically double the system memory. But there is quite a bit having just about the entire Switch library move over. I've tested out a few things. Mario Kart World I've tested out, and we'll talk about that more later. Breath of the Wild I tested out. This is the Switch 2 edition. It looks really nice. I goofed around a bit with the Zelda Notes feature as well, but it's a little too early in the game for it to be fully featured, because I don't even have like all of the runes yet. But the game looks great and it's running really smoothly. Trying to remember, I tested out a couple things and just don't remember what they were. On my list to test for sure is XCOM 2 Collection, because that is one of the roughest running games I think that's on the system, but I haven't gotten around to that yet. I did test Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. That actually is much smoother frame rate. Very smooth frame rate. I think that's going to be a joy to play moving forward. And generally, a lot of games have just gotten improvements. Like I said, I haven't tested my entire library, but I have tested a couple things, and I'm pretty happy. The GameCube app is really nice. I goofed around with Soul Calibur 2 and F-Zero GX for a little bit, and they both run great. It's unfortunate that I have to unlock everything again. But I'll just have to deal with that. I'm just trying to remember if there was anything else I tested. I think that was about it as of this point. But I am looking forward to testing out even more stuff and replaying some games and seeing how they look, because they look really nice. As you saw in the intro with Mario Kart, which we'll go back to here in a moment. So getting a Switch 2 was quite a journey. It started in April, where I signed up for a My Nintendo Store notification that I could purchase one through them. Then came the actual date of the pre-orders, and Best Buy screwed me out of getting in line 6 times. And I wanted to get it there because I wanted to finance it. I took the day off after the pre-order date because I knew I would be up till freaking late trying to get one. And I didn't get one. When I woke up, I was able to pre-order practically everything but a console. So I got the Switch 2 Pro controller, the SD card, the majority of the amiibo outside of Unobo, who was locked like the console was until launch. I don't know why that was. And then I got Zelda. And I think that was that order. So I got all that at Best Buy. So I financed all that. Then just waited. Waited a month and a half, 2 months practically. Did not get my Nintendo email opportunity. Did not get a chance to order from anybody else. Day of, Costco put orders up. So I ordered one through Costco. Went through, looked like it was fine. Breathed a sigh of relief that I wouldn't have to go out and fight any crowds. About a half hour later, it comes back with a cancellation notification. Don't know fully why. My credit card info was off a year, but when I checked my bank, it's still sitting in there, pending, but Costco canceled it on their end for whatever reason. So I was like, this is after 8 o'clock at this point. Best Buy did a midnight launch. I wasn't thinking they were going to have any sitting around. So I went into the shower because I needed to go out, and I went to Target. I walked in, no line. It was about 8:30, so they've already been open a half an hour. I walked back to the electronics section. There's like 20, 25 of them just sitting around, either in the front or in a cage. And the guy happened to be right there, so I was like, I'm here to buy a Switch 2. So I bought the Switch 2 directly from Target. Walked out of the store with it, with the Unobo amiibo, as well as the new Rune Factory, because reviews for it were really good, and everything's on the card, which I really, really appreciate, and we'll talk about momentarily. And then the system transfer was pretty painless, took like 10 minutes. Setting up the console it's not difficult. It's very similar to the Switch 1. In a lot of ways. There's nice new sound effects that you won't be able to hear because I've muted the video capture device. But it does give it a little bit more whimsy than the Switch 1 had, which I appreciate. All of my album stuff is transferred over. Yes, I had a grand time at the Grand Festival. The eShop runs better. The news is much better because one thing about the old news is that it combined both of my accounts, because I have the English account and the Japanese account, so I could get the Japanese versions of NSO apps. And now they've broken it up by account, which is fantastic. So if I want to see Japanese news, it's now separated into its own account, which I really appreciate because it was just no filter at all. Haven't played with Game Share, haven't touched Game Chat, haven't messed with the virtual game cards at all. Nintendo Switch Online app runs better. It's a lot cleaner. So in terms of a lot of things, the Switch 2 is a lot better. They did some cleanup here too. You can now sort and reorder on this side. And the groups is now just you hit the right shoulder button. Here they are. And dealing with groups is a lot better. For example, I probably need to add Zelda Breath of the Wild in here because I never had it for the Switch 1. So instead of having to fiddle with a bunch of menus, I just go to Edit Group, Add Remove Software. And it's down under The Legend of. And we'll save that and we'll have that replace Tears of the Kingdom with the reorder software, because that is, I think, pretty accurate to what my top 10 currently is. And then I don't remember what order the rest of this is in. It's kind of chaos, but Zelda Tears of the Kingdom can stay there. So that's smoother, a lot easier to deal with. I appreciate that. There's still some things. The update process is now automatic, which is fantastic. It used to be that it would only update things on the main screen that were more active, and then like if a patch came out on a game I hadn't played recently, I'd have to go in and manually go in and tell it to update. When I ported everything over, it's like everything updated. That it was active, and there was some stuff that wasn't. That's what all of these cloud icons are basically indicating. And it updated everything. It took about 18 to 20 hours to get everything back on here. The visuals are definitely crisper. You can, like, the colors are just really nice. You can just kind of tell by just rolling through Mario Kart World here real fast that everything looks fantastic, and even the menu looks better. I look at like Sayonara Wild Hearts and like the E's, and it's just like the colors just pop really nicely now. Let's talk briefly about the game key cards. Because that's probably the biggest issue I have with the Switch 2 on the whole, is practically all third-party support is going that direction. There's a rumored reason for this, which is that Nintendo's only releasing a specific size of Switch 2 cart to third parties. So you basically choose to pick that or the game key card, and you just force people to download it. And the majority are like, well, don't know if that size is going to work for us. It's too big. It's not a one size fits all. It costs too much. Lots of different factors, I'm sure. So they have basically kept a lot of third parties in this game key card space, which I don't really like as someone who prefers having physical games. The game key card acts as a license to a downloadable code, but you have to still use that card to act as your key, so to speak, to download it. And it does have more value than a key in a box, or like a code in a box type of situation where you put the code in and then magically it's yours, but you can never resell it. You can seemingly resell game key cards, but it still requires a big fat download to do it. So, like Mario Kart World, I imagine, is a hefty little download to have saved $30 on to get the system with the code. So let's just manage software real quick and see how big Mario Kart ended up. So Mario Kart is 21.9 gigs as of this moment. The next biggest thing is XCOM 2. Which has a lot of different games and DLC attached to it. I just don't really like that. Like, I might have considered getting Street Fighter 6 for the Switch 2, so that way I could actually play it online and use the Kimberly amiibo that I bought. But I don't want to have a game keycard for it and then download that onto the Switch. It's like memory hogs, basically, is what those are. I don't want to have a whole bunch of 21 gig size games or larger taking up space. I would rather have the physical card hold a lot of it, and then whatever's extra can be downloaded. That's my personal take on game key cards. It's nice that you could resell them. I bought Rune Factory for the Switch 2 specifically because I would get the Switch 2 version on the card, and that's what happened. It just like had the Switch 1 version and then it unlocked the Switch 2 version instantaneously. Totally cool. Liked that format. It's all on the card. I could play it on my Switch 1 if I wanted to. But I just really like that. I like that feature a lot. And only Marvelous and CD Projekt Red, as of this recording, have done full game on a card releases for their games out of the third parties as of this moment. Sega, Capcom, Square Enix, they're all doing key cards or code in a box. And I'm just not here for that. So I think that my Switch 2 is going to primarily be a first-party console. And my PS5 is going to be my third-party console. On top of that, Switch 2 games tend to be looking like they're more expensive in some ways compared to PS5. So I'm probably going to save money just going PS5 anyway. I've already seen this with some of the like collector stuff, like Super Rare, for example. I could have got Steam World Heist 2 on the Switch, but it cost $10 more than if I bought it on the PS5. So I bought the PS5 version for $25 instead of $35. So like my Steam World collection's now split. I've got Dig and Heist on the Wii U, which I'll probably get Heist on one of these at some point. Dig 2 and Quest are on the Switch, and Build and Heist 2 are on the PS5. And that's not really how I'd like things to be. The nice thing about the Switch for me, in a lot of ways, was I could get everything in a series together. So I got all of the Capcom Fighting collections and all of the Castlevania retro collections on the Switch instead of PS4, because I started with like Street Fighter for this and Castlevania Anniversary for this, and it was just nice to have them all here in one space all together, and I can group them together if I want to. So like with my comps, you'll see like these three are the ones that are featured, but then it's like all the Capcom stuff's together, all the Castlevania stuff's together. So it's just kind of nice how that works out. Having them split across consoles is not my preference, but I'm going to have to work with what Nintendo is seemingly set up for third parties. And I'm already looking at, like, I've got this Pixel Remasters on Switch, but like the Tactics, I'm considering still getting that for Switch because it's got a free Switch to upgrade apparently. So that'll at least put it likely on par with the PS5 version, because I can't imagine it's that fancy looking at it. But there would be stuff like Final Fantasy VII, which is coming to Switch too, but it's a key card, and I don't want to have this weird license thing. I don't like games as being considered a license instead of ownership. It bugs me, and that's something Nintendo's kind of pushing themselves, and I don't like it. Anyway, that's enough ranting about limitations. Let's just kind of talk about Mario Kart World. So I like Daisy a lot, I've discovered in recent games. I also like Pauline, but Pauline only has 2 outfits, and Daisy's got like a gazillion. She's also an unlockable for some reason, and I don't fully understand why. But Mario Kart World is the best Mario Kart game. I feel comfortable saying that even with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe right over there, with its 90 plus tracks, I just think that they've done something marvelous with this game. And we're actually seeing one of the things I really love about Mario Kart World is this new jet ski option. In Mario Kart 8, you went under the water, but in Mario Kart World, you're above the water and you're jet skiing like in Wave Race. And that makes me so happy. I love this new mode. It is freaking-tastic, and it makes me want a new Wave Race really bad. Because it almost feels like a test zone for what could be a new Wave Race. So I think it's really, really, really good. The drifting and all that feels good. The water physics feel great. This is the best water has felt in a racing game to me since Wave Race 64. Nintendo themselves couldn't even get it right on the GameCube, which I'm looking forward to Blue Storm coming out on the GameCube app eventually so I could test my memory. Something else that's new to Mario Kart World is this charge that you can do by holding R going straight. So normally you hold R to drift. So if you hit left or right and you hold R, you're going to do a drift. But if you hold it going straight, it charges up in a different way. And you can do jumps, and this is to kind of help with the new wall feature, which I am so far away from any wall to show you how that works. But let me get a little bit closer to the lighthouses over here, and I can give you a little tour about how that looks. You also have much greater control in the air, which I really like. So you jump, and then, hey, you're riding the wall. I have not mastered it yet, but it is something that's new and is pretty neat. It's going to open up all kinds of fun shortcut opportunities because the courses are really designed with this in mind. You can also grind in this game. That's the other new feature. I'm going to have to find a place to do so. So one moment while I go find a place to grind. Something else that they've done is, yeah, this is free roam. This is a completely burden-free mode, basically, to explore the entire game map. You can see that all the other characters are kind of wandering around doing their own thing. You can fast travel to any of the courses. You can jump right into those characters if you want. There's a whole bunch of unlockable costumes for the characters. I've got all of Daisy's, which I'm very pleased with. I've got all of Pauline's because she's only got 2. But like Peach has a ton, for example. She's got more than Daisy. There's 2 I still need to find. Mario's got a bunch. He's got 10. But if, say, we wanted to jump to, like, DK Spaceport, which, in terms of the tracks, is one of my favorite tracks in the game, but we won't really see why wandering around here. Let's see if I can get a good jump, and if this... Oops, The thing about having R do both of those features, is that it can get a little bit screwy. You start drifting. There. Okay, we kind of saw it there for a second. You can also fly, which is cool. There's the grind. Yeah, other racers are just running around doing their own thing, which is kind of fun. The frame rate is fantastic. There's 24 racers when you actually do a race in this game, which is just bananas. And the rubber banding is very minimal, at least at 50cc. I haven't tried the higher ones yet. But this game just feels good, looks good, is fun to play. The free roam is actually very entertaining, despite being so chill. Because you can just wander around. Like, at any point, I could stop racing around on this track and just go somewhere else. So, like, off we go. As long as I don't hit a boundary or fall into a hazard, you can just kind of go wherever you want. And as you explore, you'll come across coins. So there's a pile of coins here. And then as you get more coins, you unlock vehicles. And you get stickers for things in this game. You can see on my jet ski somewhere. See that little, I think they're Budokons? I forget what they call them. The Mario Land enemy. They're here in this game. Sarasa Land is actually represented in 3D for like the first time ever. So I want to like have that be kind of what I represent things with. But yeah, there's coins around. There's food. That's a new thing. So you saw the Yoshi sign. Let me try to find the entrance to it. So if you grab one of these food bags, they act as a boost, but they also give you costumes. So this is how I got all of Daisy's costumes. So since I ate this one, this is going to be her swimsuit costume, which is like perfect for like the wave race part. Nabbit's hanging out, and you can chase him down. You'll get a sticker if you bop into him the first time. But otherwise, you just chase him around. But I think I am more interested in his coin stash than him himself, because I've already captured him at this location. Sorry to pollute everybody. And if we continue on, you can hop into vehicles in this game. So that helicopter, if it was still grounded, would have the opportunity for you to drive into it, and then you'll control it for a little while, which is really neat. There's just enemies hanging out, doing enemy things. There's a big pile of coins up there that I haven't quite figured out how to get to yet. This is a P-switch. There's P-switch challenges. This one's already been completed, but just for the sake of showing you what this looks like. This is a blue coin challenge. So you need to collect the 8 blue coins within a time limit. This requires some precision. I don't know if I'll pull it off perfectly again. I did. Yeah, so I got a faster time on it. That was actually one of the first ones I did. And then you can retry, and there's also a rewind. So if you failed that challenge and you just want, like, you failed like the very last second, you can rewind and then try to figure out what went wrong and try again. There's peach medallions. There happens to be one right there. So I think I'll attempt to go grab that one while we're goofing around here. And there's an active P-switch challenge. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm not looking to 100% this game. I don't know what all the peach medallions do beyond just nice little challenges. But it's fun that they're there. I like that they're there. Yeah, there's another big pile of coins right over there. But yeah, just driving around, and at any point, it's like, well, I feel like I've explored this area a bit. Yeah, Cheep Falls. Cheep Falls is probably my favorite environment in the game. It is absolutely gorgeous, start to finish. But I'll show you a couple others. But it's just fun. Like, I like free roam modes, I've discovered. Like, World Tour and Street Fighter 6 is my favorite thing in that game. I have spent so much time just wandering around being goofy in that game. And, excuse me, Toad. Having just the time of my life with my custom character. And I feel like with Mario Kart, they've tapped into that same vein of exploration that I absolutely love in video games. And instead of just like being confined to, well, all I can do is race, now I can just go explore these environments and stop and soak in the scenery and not feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's just great. I love that. This area is so gorgeous. There's a photo mode that you can jump into at any point by pressing the select button. So if you really just want to have a good shot, you can rearrange. And of course, the big thing about Mario Kart World is that it's multiplayer online. So if I had 3 friends that I wanted to roam around this space in, I could do that very easily. And with the game share thing, I could be having a conversation and all of that. While my game runs silky smooth, theirs would be a little bit choppy because of the nature of Nintendo Internet. Soul Calibur 2 still is not great. So there's still work to be done with Nintendo's online stuff. But on the whole, it's like Mario Kart World is my favorite in the series. I think it looks phenomenal. It has the best soundtrack in the series. There's over 200 arrangements across the entire Mario Pateron. And I've just been driving around and being like, wow, that is such a good remix over and over and over again. It's so good. The characters have more personality than I think they've ever had. Like, Daisy's really playful, like, as she should be, being the sporty one. And is just full of little quirks unique to her, and her idle animations, and, like, how she does her poses when you do stunts and all of that. It's just a marvelous achievement to see all of this running in 4K with brighter colors and higher fidelity and a frame rate that has been rock solid, like from every perspective. It's truly been a joy experiencing Mario Kart. Might be the best looking Rainbow Road as well, and probably the best playing Rainbow Road. Absolutely had a blast experiencing that for the first time. But yeah, this game is just really, really good. I don't know if it's $80 good, but $50. I feel it was money well spent. Definitely worth, if you have any interest in racing games, the Mario franchise, or Mario Kart especially, to consider it, if you're going to get a Switch 2, to go for this version before they stop making it, because I think it's worth it. And I'm not the biggest multiplayer person in the world, but just, I think free roam, even though it could use more meat on its bones, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's just fun to drive around and explore these environments and soak in everything. And listen to the soundtrack and just, like, have this worry-free opportunity to just explore and look. It's just great. We'll briefly jump out and we'll go into the change character. This is another thing that's a little confusing, is how they sort things. So it's kind of like they have the main group here, and then they have all of the cute little enemies, and there's a bunch more that I need to unlock because they're through Kamek unlocks, which is interesting. Not sure if I'm the biggest fan of that choice. But then all the costumes and other characters that I've unlocked just kind of show up over here. And then here's all the stuff I still need to unlock. But if you sort it, then, you know, it puts all the characters together. But why is this not like a sub-menu? Why do we need to have all of the Peach costumes take up 8 slots or 7 slots at the moment? That I don't fully understand. I haven't played every mode yet. I did unlock everything through Grand Prix. I'm still unlocking vehicles. I haven't done any online or multiplayer or any wireless play. Here's some of the stickers. And then there's a little manual that kind of gets into things a little bit about all that stuff, but I haven't messed around with Knockout Tour, the time trials, done any versus races or battle mode yet. It is kind of neat that you can... Ooh, Bowser Bruiser. I'm forgetting which cart I like the most at the moment, because I'm still unlocking a bunch. There's a Rob Cycle, so that's a nice little throwback. There's also a Mach Rider reference somewhere in the motorcycles. Mach Rocket, which has some similarities to Mach Rider's bike. There's a very Excite Bike style bike. I've been using the blooper a lot. I've used the rally cart a bit. I think we were in the Zoom buggy, which is fun. There's stats and everything for all of these. This is like the DS one. I've heard that some of the updates have been phenomenally good for improving frame rates and resolutions, even for the free updates. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet apparently is a massive improvement, having that actually have a consistent frame rate and just better fidelity. But I haven't had the opportunity to really goof around with that. Keep grabbing the swimsuit costume. It's not on purpose. But yeah, this game is just gorgeous. I'm just sitting here in awe again. I've had quite a few moments of just driving around and being like, this is so cool. There we go. Classic Daisy. I feel like I don't have much else to say at this point, and I'm having too much fun driving around as Daisy in a absolutely wonderful, wonderful game that feels really good to control. So I think we're going to call it there, and thank you for joining me today for this look at the Switch 2. We'll have all of the Summer Games Fest shenanigans recap very soon. Nope, I hit a border. Very soon. I'm working on recording that immediately after this episode, so we will be back very shortly with a lot more to talk about. So, until then, friends, take care,